And D Benito, right?
Di Benedetto. Close
Benedetto.
enough.
All right. Well, I want to get it correct.
It's a hard one, so I don't mind.
Okay, we're live, and welcome to everyone on Facebook to another Derek Travel Chats. And I'm very happy today to welcome two more guests from Royal Caribbean. Eric St. Pierre, who's the National Accounts Sales Manager and Sales Manager for Ontario and Atlantic Canada. Patricia Benedetto. There you go. Is that right?
Good enough. Close enough. Close enough.
I tell you, my memory is great, but it's just short. So again, today we're going to follow along because COVID-19 has thrown this travel industry into such a turmoil, so to speak, but also giving people an opportunity just to reflect on what the industry is and how we do things for people. And as a travel agent, I mean, I want to be able to make sure that my clients and your guests are going to be receiving a safe environment, knowing that at some point, the cruise industry will be bigger and better and safer than it ever had been before. So, Eric, if you're able to just start off for us and just give us the public an idea of how COVID-19 has impacted the cruise industry and people's vacations and so on from your standpoint.
Well, of course, it has had a big impact, right? We were put in a situation like the rest of the travel industry to have to suspend any and all of our activities due to COVID-19. And of course, we're very much in contact with the various government bodies, government agencies, as well as the other more or less private or governmental stakeholders, such as the CDC, the Government of Canada. You're not without knowing that the Canadian government has closed its ports to cruise ships, so that of course has also affected us. But it's all part of this one dynamic, if you will, this one situation. So we're essentially waiting after a sign of hope, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that it's coming. It's coming slowly, but it's coming surely. The scientists are sharing with us that they're making huge developments in terms of creating a vaccine, creating various treatments. So we need to remain very careful. Please continue washing your hands, continue wearing a mask, and abiding by the various bylaws, regulations, and rules of where you live in. And that's all going to help us go back into the water together earlier rather than later. Now I know that the question on everyone's mind is, but when are you resuming service? And it is a fair question. I was actually trying to consult my crystal ball, but it seems that I've lost it. I don't know if it made its way to St. John's, perhaps.
If it did, it soaked wet and rain, so.
But essentially, all that to say that we don't know. There are a few things that we know, however, is that we're not going to bring all 27 ships back online like this at the same time. It's not going to be a switch that we're going to flip. It's going to be, to keep with the switch analogy, it's going to be a dimmer. So we're probably going to start with a few ships. We're probably going to start with shorter itineraries. We're probably going to start in markets where there is already a drive-in segment of the population that's going to be able to drive to the ships and have easier access. So that is those are the principles around which our reasoning is kind of gearing towards
Okay.
right now. So that's basically where we are for the moment being.
Okay, well, great. And how this is not even a second wave yet, but I know there's a lot of concern over the numbers that are coming out of the US right now with infections and so on. All of these moving figures and moving elements, I'm sure, are all part of what your company and the people doing that communication had to really try to balance out and make sure it's safe for wherever you're coming from to be able to move from point A to point B. So I imagine that would have a big impact on whenever you put the ships back in the water or we go back on water type of thing.
Absolutely. The health and safety of our guests and crew is our number one priority at any given time. So we need to make sure that whatever decision we take, it's going to be for the benefit of our guests, benefit of our crew, and it's going to be done in a safe environment for everyone.
Excellent. And Patricia, I know you're very specifically Ontario and Atlantic Canada, but I mean, you still have to keep your pulse, hand on the pulse of what's going on in the industry and what's happening for your ships and whatever. So what are some of the, I guess, I know people really don't like this term, the new normal going to look like as far as the travel industry and the cruise industry for Royal Caribbean? What are the kind of things that your company is doing to make those things safe? And once, if I walk on board, what can I expect?
For sure. And that's the key to making everyone feel safe and comfortable again, right? Is once we announce this healthy sail, return to sail. So we actually announced last week, we've developed a healthy sail panel, and it consists of 11 individuals, all from like the health and safety and medical research areas. So think medical practice and research, infectious disease, as well as marine operations, so they're coming from varying degrees. And they're really working on our return to sail and enhancing our safety protocols. And the reason I want to mention enhancing is because cruising was so healthy to begin with. We had such amazing sanitation practices in place to begin with. Prior to entering, to go and have your lunch or your dinner, you were washing your hands at the wash stations prior to entering. I don't know the last time you went to perhaps a mall and to an elevator and you saw them vigorously cleaning it 3 times a day. That's something that was standard practice on our ship. So that was key to begin with. So now this panel is really there to enhance it. So they really have 4 areas that they're focusing on when they develop this plan to then obviously let our clients know and our customers know and our agents know to know what our healthy return to sail is. So one is our screening. So when you arrive, what is the screening practice? How do we get you on board? How do we know you're healthy? And how do we keep our guests safe as well as our crew safe, right? So it's a twofold there, right? So that's critical, and people want to know what that's going to look like. Secondly is the onboard experience. So what will that look like when we return to sail? So we know, much to what Eric was saying, is the dimmer, we're going to probably begin with a lower capacity. So we won't go out at 100% full. We'll go down perhaps at a 60% capacity rate. So, we can respect the social and physical distancing element. To start, there won't be any self-service buffets, for example, right? So we'll modify that. Theaters and shows, there will be more spacing between seats. And so there's really a bunch of different areas, but it will hit on all the areas of our ships, which is extremely important because that's the biggest chunk of it, right? You want to understand what your on-board experience is going to be. The third element of that will be the destinations we visit and the destination experience. So we want to ensure that we're bringing our guests to areas that are safe for them to enjoy and create their memories. And likewise, we want to make sure that our guests are safe entering these destinations as well, right? So that's a very key element. So we are working with all the different ports that we visit. And then last but not least, and I know everyone's going to want to know this one, ourselves included, should something arise on board, how will that be handled, right? So we need to know, so should this, it's like anything else. What is our procedure going to be? And clients need to understand, okay, should something happen, step A, B, and C will happen. And that will bring a comfort level that they know when they are on board, all of these elements are taken care of. So I'm really proud to work for Royal Caribbean. I know they've hired such a fantastic group of people to work on this project. And I would expect in the coming weeks, possibly by the end of the summer, we'll be able to announce that and then educate our customers about what that will look like.
I know one of the key things was people concerned about all of a sudden, if there is something on board, will port of entry be denied, as happened with a number of cases how's your company looking at that particular part of reassuring?
Yeah. And that's an excellent one, right? Again, that's going to bring comfort when customers understand how we're dealing with that. And Richard Fain, our CEO, addressed that actually a few months ago and said, we need to be in partnership with every single port we visit, that should something arise, we have a protocol in place should someone need to get home, like in any other situation when emergencies took place. So that is a key component to who are we partnering with, which ports are we visiting, that we know will have that opportunity available to us should it arise.
Oh, sounds great. I'm looking forward to seeing all of that information because people are inquiring. I mean, people do want to get back out cruising, but it's like everything's like the same as getting on board of an airplane. Everything has to be one step at a time type of thing.
Absolutely.
So, what's our Royal Caribbean looking at to bring clients back, to your particular cruise line?
Deceptively simple question that requires a very complex answer. It really depends what perspective you want to take on that, right? So one of the first things that Royal Caribbean has created is what I like to call a toolbox. A toolbox to be engaging into meaningful conversations with the consumers that are entrusted to become our guests on board our ships. And this toolbox, the name that we've given it is called Cruise with Confidence. So when you talk about the Cruise with Confidence policies with Royal Caribbean International, we're really trying to create an environment where the consumers are going to feel comfortable. They're going to feel confident looking at their next vacation on board Royal Caribbean International. So you're looking at, as an example, the possibility of canceling your cruise up to 48 hours before sailing with no real definitive financial impact. So your money is going to be refunded in the form of a future cruise credit. You're also looking at a best price guarantee. So this means that whatever happens with the price of the cruise that you've purchased, at any point until 48 hours before the cruise, if the prices go down, you're going to be able to reach out to Derek, your professional travel advisor, and ask him to have the prices adjusted. So we're really doing our best to make sure that the clients are feeling very confident about this transaction, about this purchase. So that's on one hand. But then we also need to be talking to the new to cruise and maybe even perhaps the new to brand. People that have perhaps never sailed on a cruise ship, or perhaps they've sailed on other cruise lines and now they're starting to wonder. So how safe is Royal Caribbean? How confident should I feel, if I'm going to go on one of their ships and have my next vacation there? And that is really timed with what Patricia was explaining a few moments ago with the Healthy Sail panel. And we're going to be deploying a number of tools to show the consumers what we're doing, to educate the travel professionals. We're going to have videos, we're going to have manuals, we're going to have a plethora of tools that will essentially explain to the consumers, listen, if you're going to go on a vacation on Royal Caribbean International, here's what you're going to expect. And here's what Royal Caribbean is doing, not only in front of you, but also behind the scenes, and how we have made sure that those were the best decisions, those are the best steps to take. It's going to be that dual set of tools, if you will, right? So educating on one hand and also using the cruise with confidence policy as a more of a transactional tool. So one is going to be more on the perceptual front,
Yeah.
and the other one is going to be more on the transactional front. So essentially, what your clients, Derek, need to remember is that Royal Caribbean has their back, and we're going to be making sure, 100% sure, that it's going to be a safe, but also a fun and relaxing and thrilling and chilling environment that when you get on board your next cruise with Royal Caribbean International.
Just sort of a side to it, it was kind of a little bit what Patricia was talking about as well, and just crossed my mind. So even like some of the activities on board the ship when you're at sea, the big slides and all of those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
How is Royal Caribbean approaching those particular big activities?
That is an excellent question. This is something actually that our CEO Richard Fain touched on yesterday when we had one of our conferences, one of our calls where we invite the travel professionals. Those are all questions that we are asking our Healthy Sail panel right now. How should we approach the buffet? How should we approach the elevators? How should we approach the activities, the water slides, the rock climbing walls? How can we make 100% sure that those activities are going to be viable, they're going to be safe, and they will remain fun? Because this is one of Royal Caribbean's strengths, the entertainment, the activities on board, as well as on shore when you think about our private destinations such as Labadee or Perfect Day at Coco Cay. We're going to have the same challenges, right? We're going to need to ask the same questions, and we are extremely eager to hear the recommendations of that Blue Ribbon panel.
Perfect. Thanks very much. It sounds like they've been doing a lot of work and really thinking forward on this. And so Patricia, in with being from looking after Ontario Atlantic Canada, how are you seeing any change in how clients are even considering cruising, or what kind of feedback are you getting with regard to that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think the nice part is we have such loyal to Royal fans. So our fan base and our Crown and Anchor members are absolutely desperately awaiting for that moment that we hit that go button, and they will be our cheerleaders. They're the ones that are anxious to get on board. Again, reiterating what I said earlier, they're aware of our health and safety prior to this, so they have full confidence in Royal Caribbean that it's only going to be that much better when they get on board. So they are our number one supporters. And what I think will happen, because where we're going to have a bit of a delay, is with our new to cruise and those that haven't cruised before, because they don't have the perspective that our loyal to Royal people do, right? So what's going to happen is they will be the first to definitely embark and set sail and post their pictures, share their experiences, and really sing our praises, as I know they will. And then we'll hopefully be able to return to educating that new to cruise consumer. They need to understand and feel confident choosing that as their vacation, and it's fully understood. So, we're going to do this in steps and stages. We know we're going to go after our Crown and Anchor members, or we won't even have to go after them. They're going to be the ones that want to get on board with us first. With us leaving the pack, Eric and I will be the first ones on board. They'll follow behind. Once we get it up and running and we start to get back to a regular return to service, we'll absolutely get after those clients. I think people, cruising was definitely on the upswing, and we were definitely focusing on that new to cruise customer. And we will once again return to that, no doubt, right? So I think we're all anxious to make memories again. We all just want to get on a ship and eat food and do fun things, right? So that'll come soon enough.
Oh, perfect. And the next question now is kind of general in for both you, or Patricia, or you, or Eric. The number one question that everybody has is, how is all of these changes going to impact pricing? If you're reducing your capacity down to 60%, is that going to increase price, or, and if you want people to come back, or, you know, are there going to be enticing pricing to bring people back there, back on board and that kind of stuff? So I'm sure both of you might have an answer to both, so I'll just leave that for either one of you to answer.
I'll just start really quick because I may need to jump out of this call in a few moments, but I nevertheless wanted to share some of my opinions about that. Price is really determined by, you know, Adam Smith's invisible hand, supply and demand. So and this is the question that we're actually wondering, we're actually pondering right now. And it's funny you should ask it, because on one hand, you see all of the sailings that Royal Caribbean International and the other cruise lines needed to suspend. Now, all of these guests that were booked were offered as a compensation what we call an FCC, or a future cruise credit. So right now you're looking at a market of pent up demand, where you have literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of potential guests that are holding future cruise credits in their hands.
Sure.
So you have that on one hand. And then on the other hand, you have the concerns, very legitimate, that the consumers have regarding their next vacation, regardless whether it's on board a cruise ship or at a destination or even close to home.
Yes.
So you're going to have these various forces that are going to be colliding one against the other. And this will eventually, again, with the hand of Adam Smith's invisible hand, we'll see how that will affect the pricing. 2021 will not be your typical year. That goes without saying. It's going to be an adaptation year.
Sure.
Regardless whether we have a vaccine or regardless whether we have treatments, we're going to need to relearn together how to travel, what the new procedures are and what the new steps are. Yep. So it will undoubtedly affect the travel industry as a whole. I think that by 2022, then we're going to be back into a pre-COVID type of market. Okay. But until then, it's really anyone's guess. I don't know, Patricia, what your thoughts are regarding that.
Yeah, and I think you've addressed quite a bit of it, and I think calming a few of those concerns where people were like, well, what if I book now? You know, at $1,000, they'll use an arbitrary number, and then, you know, they haven't filled capacity, drops down to $500. Now I've spent too much. Like, there's all those questions, and they're fair, but that's where our price guarantee has come into effect to calm those nerves, right? Because pricing has not gone up. And you do not need to be, and you can read this on anything, I'm not revealing any big industry secrets, you don't need to be at 100% capacity to be profitable. So even with all cruise lines operating at a lower level, they'll still be in a profitable margin. So there's no need to price gouge, right? And that's not what we want to do, not us and not our competitors. We want to get people back on our ships, sailing and experiencing. The goal here isn't to turn people away, it's to bring people forward. And the price guarantee helps that as well, right? So you know that you're not going to be paying more than you should be. You'll be protected right up until 48 hours prior to departure. So I think that eases, I think, a few of those questions as well.
Excellent. So I know, yeah. Eric, I know you have to pop out to another commitment fairly soon. And so before you do that, is there anything you would like to leave with the viewers and so on?
Well, thank you so much for offering us the opportunity to talk to your customers, Derek. I really appreciate that. And please, everyone, if you are thinking about booking your next vacation, there is no other way to do it than through a professional travel advisor. And seeing how Derek has deployed so many resources in keeping you informed, keeping you in the loop, and keeping you in touch with the various suppliers of the travel industry. I think that, Derek, you've more than demonstrated that you're doing an amazing job at being an advocate for your customers. And we're absolutely looking forward to hosting you again on Royal Caribbean International, as well
Yay.
as everybody who's watching with us today.
Well, I mean, I before you go, I mean, I had to also acknowledge that, I mean, last year we had a small group of people that ran into an issue, and Eric, you were Johnny on the spot to be able to deal with that issue for me and make some get some things rolling. So it's really important that we build these relationships and that the clients know that people like yourself and Patricia are there for them as well as myself as an agent and other agents. So I thank you for doing that, because when they came back from that cruise, all wonderful experiences. So it was great that you were able to help me out on that. So thank you very much as well.
That is great to hear. Thank you so much. I'm going to pop out now, but I'll leave you in the good hands of Patricia. Thank you so much, everyone.
I'm going to ask Patricia about certain ships now.
Yes. All right. Woo! Awesome.
Yeah. As we continue on, can you tell us a little bit about the Royal Caribbean ship and what makes it unique to your particular brand?
I think the first and foremost thing to say about Royal Caribbean in general is that we cater to the multi-generational family, right? So we want to make sure that all our guests that come on board, there's something for every age group. We really do pride ourselves on that. And I think regardless if you're a toddler right up to a senior, there is something for everyone. Entertainment is something we pride ourselves on. So for anyone that's ever cruised on an Oasis class ship, so there's 4 ships in the fleet right now. So we have Oasis, Allure, Harmony, and Symphony. We have a variety of different entertainment. So we have ice skating shows, we have our aqua theater shows, we have our main theater shows, and we also offer Broadway musicals. So you can be on our Symphony of the Seas and get to watch Hairspray, for example, all included and complimentary, which leads me into my next point. All the activities that you do on board are complimentary. So you're not getting on board the ship and then suddenly surprised to say, oh, no, you got to pay for that and you got to pay for that. That is not what we are about. We want you to experience some really cool things. So if you're on our Quantum class ship, why not try skydiving? Like, how crazy is that to be in the middle of the ocean and skydive, right? So it's just such cool, fun experiences. And who came up with this stuff? It's amazing, right? So it really is, right now we're all at a moment where we've had to pause by force. So we've all slowed down, whether it's been in our work life, our home life has changed, we're all at home, and we're taking a moment to breathe. And I think that pent-up demand to travel, I think, is so critical, because travel is when you make the memories, right? Travel is when you have all those experiences that are super unique that you can't do anywhere else, right? So I think when you're on a Royal Caribbean ship, and obviously I'm a big fan because I work for the brand, but I'm also your target consumer because I'm a mom of 2 boys. So I have a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old who bicker constantly at home. We get on that ship and those 2 are best friends. They don't know what they want to do first because there's so much to do, and my husband, prior to us going on a family trip, he's like, am I going to be tired after this trip? I'm like, absolutely not. Wait till we get on board. And it's true, because there's literally something for everyone. And it truly is a fully enjoyable experience when you get on our ships. I can talk a lot about this stuff, so sorry if I'm going off on a tangent.
It's what people want to be able to hear, understand, that what you have to offer, and hopefully it meets their needs and that kind of stuff. So I know the Quantum, I think, is the newest category ship, or was
it? Is the newest after Oasis, yeah. But we're still adding to both Quantum and Oasis, so they're still our newest of the fleet. And
is there new ships on hold in the future, or are they on hold right now?
So our newest ship, which is Odyssey of the Seas. So Odyssey is actually the 5th and final addition to our Quantum class series of ships. So that's where you would get the skydiving. So she was actually scheduled to debut in November. So we've actually delayed that until April of 2021 for a varying degree of reasons. But rather than doing the Caribbean as her inaugural season, we'll actually begin her inaugural season in Europe beginning end of April 2021. And then after that, we have a slew of ships coming out. So we will complete our Oasis class family with Wonder of the Seas. So she'll be the fifth and final. And then very excitingly, we'll be moving into our Icon class of ships. So we know absolutely nothing about them. They're very secretive about it. So all we asked, are they going to be bigger or smaller? And the only answer we got was, when has Royal Caribbean done anything small? So I'll leave you with that as a little bit of a mystery of what's coming up next. But, you know, like everything else, we're all on pause. So we're pausing for 6 more months, 12 more months before we have anything new out. I mean, there's no way of knowing when, but we do have full plans to continue to innovate, because that is really a big part of our brand, is the innovation that we bring out to the market. And
you're saying your first itinerary will probably be over in Europe area. Any particular itinerary that you're looking at, or that would be attractive? Is it mainly the Mediterranean, or is it from UK down?
Yeah, so I think the hot spot, and what I've heard the most of, and again, I'm speaking within my own territory, and I know what the most popular one. So Odyssey specifically is leaving out of Rome, and she's doing a lot of the Greek islands, which is such a popular itinerary right now. Everybody's looking to go to Greece. So I think what a cool way to not only see Europe, to be on a new ship, and to go to some hotspot destinations. That's definitely where I would like to see. And there's some alternating itineraries. So there's a little bit of a mix up and some longer stays as well, that I think would be very exciting, and definitely something that we should partner up together and talk about when we got those future cruise credits in hand and people are ready to book. I'd love to explore the different destinations as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, Patricia, it's been fabulous having you and Eric here for that half hour. Anything that you would like to leave with us and leave with the viewers about Royal Caribbean and moving forward in this new world that we're in?
Yeah, it's funny enough, as you're saying that, I got goosebumps all over, because I think, you know, to add to what I was just saying, like, you know, we've all had to take a pause for a moment, right? Life has slowed down, and, you know, a simple hug has become a big deal. That I think, you know, in this time where we've all had to slow down, I know the Royal Caribbean team back in Miami is working very hard to work on bringing us back into sailing, back with healthy protocols, making us have the ability to make memories again. And I think that's so exciting. And I think, you know, we've had a lot of lessons learned over this time where we've all been at home. And I think we're just going to treasure getting back on board that much more, where maybe we were, you know, even myself as a brand rep, oh yeah, I just went on this ship. Oh yeah, I just went on that ship. And I cannot wait for the day that I step back on board and sail again. And I think myself, as well as all other travelers, is I think we're going to have a brand new appreciation for those moments when we get back on board. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I trust in Royal Caribbean that we will definitely bring forward a plan that will make everybody feel healthy and safe.
Well, again, thank you very much. And to all of our viewers, thank you for viewing. And if you're interested in just talking about cruising, I mean, we all understand that we're not going to all jump on aboard a cruise ship right away, but there's nothing better than planning for when you want to be able to do it, because, you know, with all these future cruise ship vouchers out there and such a pent up amount of people, it may make finding a cabin very difficult for the first and so, and especially if it's at a reduced number on board and those kinds of things. So, you know, we're here as agents, and I also say that for all my fellow agents of TPI across Canada. I mean, there's over 800 of us, and that doesn't, you know, necessarily in Newfoundland or Labrador, but you know, if you're interested in pursuing that, you know, please, I invite you to give me a call, and you'll see my contact information available after this series is over with. So again, Patricia, thank you. It's been wonderful to have you and Eric, and hopefully we'll have you on again.
Yeah, I'd love that.
We start forward, because this has become a new normal for me to be able to do this. And we can talk more about each individual ship and what they have to offer to people. So All right.
Absolutely. We're here to support you whichever way you need. So happy to do so.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Okay.
You have a wonderful
Okay.
day. All right.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.